to continue their education. Reading scores on SAT tests for the class of 2012 have reached a four-decade low. Experts are blaming the decline on the record number of students who are taking the college entrance exam. Many of them can't afford programs to help improve their scores. But more than 3 million students each year drop out of high school. Many have attended what are commonly called dropout factories, and there are about 1,500 dropout factories nationwide. The definition is where fewer than 60% of the students will graduate. In a new documentary on PBS's Frontline, they spent time at one of those schools, Sharpstown High School in Houston, Texas. They followed 4 students who are on the verge of dropping out, including this young man whose name is Lawrence.
You don't even appreciate what I do for you.
I do everybody like everybody do me.
I've never done you that way. I've never turned my back on you.
In due time, all along.
Okay, so that's why you're doing it. Okay, so do you want to withdraw? Because you obviously don't want to be here.
How I don't want to be here?
Because you're disrespectful and rude, and we cannot.
I don't want to take this test. You keep trying to force it like I have to take this test.
No, I said you don't have to take the test.
Okay.
I just don't think he can do school. He's disrespectful and rude to everybody. After everything that I've done for him and the support that I've given him, it just pisses me off.
Sharpstown High School Principal Rob Gasparello is joining us this morning. He's in Houston. Here in New York is the producer of that Frontline piece, Frank Kewen. Nice to have you with us. We certainly appreciate it. Frank, I'm going to start with you first before I get to the principal of Sharpstown High School. That young man was talking about a test. The teacher was going back and forth about whether or not he'd have to take the test. Give us some context for that. What was going on?
Well, it was basically the SATs, and they were offering them at school that day. Lawrence showed up that morning completely unaware that the SATs were that day. And so there's a long scene where the principal and the teacher there, Ms. Brevard, tried to talk him into just taking the test. Even whether he passes or fails, it doesn't matter. Just get out there and take it. But Lawrence is a student that just has a lot of pent-up anger and emotional issues that really get in the way of him doing school properly.
Which is pretty much the case for many of the students, frankly, at these dropout factories. Let me ask a question to Principal Gasparello. Your teacher, in that video clip we just showed, very, very frustrated. How often is that sort of interchange that we just saw there with Lawrence and the teacher happening at these kinds of schools? Is that just sort of a daily occurrence?
I don't think it's a daily occurrence. It happens, but there's a lot more situations that are very positive where we turn it around. You saw Lawrence in that clip who was very frustrated and brings a lot of anger to school, but there are a lot of students who we sort of redirect that anger and get them on the right track.
So we just heard Frank that he's saying, listen, that's not always the case, and that there are lots of students that they're able to turn around and get them on the right track. Do you think that that's true? I mean, have you seen that in the making of this documentary?
Oh, absolutely. And that's absolutely the case. And I worry that we almost stacked the deck against Sharpstown by following especially problematic kids for the course of the documentary. But yeah, they have as many successes, if not more.
What are some of the problems that they're dealing with?
Everything. I mean, really every problem that you can think of. It seems like 75% of the problems that these kids are dealing with are all outside of school. They're all home life related, work life related.
Gangs, drugs, family issues.
Exactly. Not classroom problems, but they bring these problems to school and they become classroom problems.
You are at Apollo School, right, Principal Gasparello? And
we are.
Many years ago I did a story on Roland Fryer, who's put a lot of effort into trying to bring education reform. How have you found his policies playing out since you're in Apollo School? How's it working out for you? What have you seen?
Well, we've seen in the last 2 years since we've been at Sharpstown an amazing turnaround, and I think the 2-hour documentary that Frontline did will show that. Despite the fact that kids come to us with anger, poverty, and lots of tough life situations, they can be successful, and we've proven that. And through helping them feel capable, connected, and cared for, and having that adult mentor at the school. We can no longer just sit and hope kids conform to what we want them to be. We have to be flexible enough to make sure that we're meeting their needs. And those needs are just out there and really tough. And we do everything we can on a daily basis to figure out ways to meet them by providing longer hours, providing programs that help get them back on track, longer school days, SAT prep classes, twilight academies where students can work, because they're the breadwinner in the family and they can
And
come
have
in
you
at 5
seen,
o'clock and work till 8
absolutely,
o'clock.
you've been able to turn around your school, that your particular school is not a dropout factory anymore, or at least is on the path to becoming one?
Oh, we're not where we want to be, but we absolutely have done that. We've changed the culture. Not only are we not a dropout factory, our kids are completing school at a rate of about 88%, and we also are looking at college. Last year, our senior graduating class, almost 100% of them applied to a 2 or 4 year college. Did all of them go? Absolutely not. Our goal is to be the purveyors of hope. Kids drop out because they lose hope and that there's nothing out there for them.
Frank,
We
let me
want
ask you
them
a
looking
question.
past.
I was going to ask Frank the question of what you just said. He
Sure.
just said our goal is to be the purveyors of hope to these students. So take us back to Lawrence. I mean, can you tell us, I don't want to give away the ending of your documentary, but I want to know, I mean, he's such a typical teenage boy. He's obviously afraid of taking a test that he's completely unprepared for. He wants to stay in school, you can tell, because he's kind of pushing back against dropping out, and yet he's not respectful. He kind of doesn't want to be there. What happens to him?
Oh, totally. And you know, the thing about Lawrence is he's a kid that does want to make it, you know, but he's got so much that is lined up against him, including himself. He's his own biggest obstacle. But, you know, there's one scene where Lawrence has another tantrum in school and goes storming out of the school, you know, and I'm sitting there thinking, we just saw Lawrence drop out. You know, he's not coming back. And Mr. Gasparello says to us, oh, he'll be back tomorrow because this is the best thing he's got.
For many students, it's a sad thing to say, but that's their lifeline.
Absolutely.
The documentary looks amazing. Rob Gasparello, who is the principal of Sharpstown High School in Houston. It's nice to see you, sir. Thank you for your time. And Frank Kewen, thank you for bringing a little bit of your documentary to us. We appreciate it. The documentary Dropout Nation will premiere on PBS. That's this evening at 9 p.m.